You went goaltender first goaltender you guys have chosen since Lindback. So
yeah, I think if you looked at the similarities both in height and almost mannerisms, it looks like a cross between Pecorari and Anders Lindback. I mean, probably not our most pressing need, but again, I think the draft is a future situation, and our guys obviously liked this goaltender a lot. I mean, they think his potential is unlimited. So taking the first goaltender, we've had really good success with our goaltenders, with our goaltender coach Mitch Korn. We certainly like the fact that we've got two of the biggest and tallest goaltenders in the league already, and this is another kid that we think could follow that philosophy.
We've had Hornqvist over in Sweden, Rene, Ingrid, the list goes Lindback, the list goes on and on. What is this? I mean, what kind of compliment is this to European scouts when you pick a guy like this first?
Well, I think we're an equal opportunity employer, so we're just trying to get the best player. I mean, I'm not trying to favor an area. I mean, sometimes it comes out like that. I think in our early years we were pretty weighted in Western Canada, and I guess it all evens out. So we're just looking for the best players, and it's, I mean, as you know, I'm as complimentary as I can be as often as I can to pat our scouts in the back, because I think they do a real good job. And I don't think a lot of teams maybe even knew about this guy. So you could argue that maybe we could have taken him later in the draft, but our philosophy always is just take the player who we want and try to get the best player, and that's what we did today.
Could you give us a little rundown about snippets of all the different players you picked?
If I could remember them, I would. I mean, I think when we prepared last night, I could have told you if the draft broke this way, that's exactly who we would have taken. Salamaki and the goaltender Hellberg on their first two picks in the second round. That's exactly the way it turned out. The goaltender, big, tall, very athletic. I think that's where the goaltenders are going. Salamaki, very hard-working, determined, Finnish player, plays a gritty style. Again, I'd like to characterize that as a Predators type of a forward. We think he's got a little bit of an upside offensively, so those are their first two picks. After that, again, I think you're really drafting for the future a little bit. In the fourth round, Shello was a guy that was a 91. He's been passed over by the draft a couple of times. This is one of our specialties, if you will, is to kind of look at late bloomers. This is a guy that's he's got some really good size. His skating wasn't very good the last couple of years. It seems to have gotten a lot better this year, and he's scored a lot of goals. So he's over age, but maybe a guy that could play in Milwaukee next year. So, and we're a little bit short on the left wing, and that's why we took him.
Do you plan on Shella? I mean, obviously you haven't seen him in camp, but do you plan on Shella playing in Milwaukee? Would you like him to?
Well, we're going to go have our conditioning camp next week, and as many of these kids that can get there as possible, we'll have there. I'm sure a player like Shella will be there, so we'll have a real good look at him in comparison to our other prospects. I would think he would come to our training camp, and then we'll go from there.
Were you seeking to get next year's third rounder back, or did that just come out?
Actually, I mean, it's a little bit of a factor of who was available, and the fact that we had that hole in the 3 spot next year. So I'm real glad that we filled that up. It's sort of like paying off your debts, if you will. I mean, just like sitting there yesterday, the first round, it's kind of a frustrating situation. I mean, our guys were very high on a lot of players, and not to be able to participate, that was a little disappointing. So I'm glad we got our third round pick back. You just never know as you get going here in the season. Trading deadline, second and third picks could be very valuable to improve your club at the trading deadline. So good ammunition to have.
You drafted a couple of players that are pretty prolific scorers in college and in juniors. Do you think that will carry over and translate to the next level?
Well, we certainly hope so. I mean, that's one of the areas that, both short and long term, we want to get some better offensive forwards and get more offense into our game. So we certainly had an eye on that with some of our draft picks, and hopefully, even a later pick. I mean, what do you say? You got to be good, but it wouldn't hurt to be a little lucky and get somebody that maybe other teams passed over that turns out someday.
Any updates on any of the negotiations with the free agents?
No, nothing yet. This has been all the agents were here, but it was too busy of a whirlwind in 2 or 3 days where I touched base with a lot of agents and basically said that I'll be talking to them next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and it just wasn't any time. Just so much going on.
David, from Winnipeg, just wondered if I can get a thought on the Jets being back in the league from you.
Well, the Jets were well represented at the draft today. I mean, it was almost a home draft for them. Fans, obviously, the excitement of Winnipeg getting to the league has been ongoing and carried over to the draft, where obviously a lot of fans, came down here to the draft. I think it's great. I mean, it's been a well thought out plan to get back into the NHL. It's sort of built up momentum over the last year and then clearly over the last couple of months, and then finally getting the franchise. It's certainly been completed and fulfilled in terms of the whole vision by the fact that they're sold out long-term commitments on tickets and sponsorships, and there is a definite excitement for Winnipeg being back in the league. It looks like they've done everything right to get this thing started in the right direction right away for the long run.
Thanks.
You can try to get a copyright on maybe 19.5 feet of goalie now.
Oh, there you go. That would be good.
Since we got 13,
we're in a petition to dress 3. Yeah.
Since we've got 13 feet, we can move up to that now.
Hey, that would be good. Very good.
Is there a reason why? The trend seems to be on Rene Lindback. The height thing there. You mentioned earlier about him, and is that a coincidence or?
Well, I'm not a mathematician, but I think you can figure it out a little bit in terms of net is 4 by 6, and if the goaltender is this size, and how much does he cover? But again, they got to be good athletes, and it's worked good for us. And in theory, a bigger guy is going to two athletes are equal. The bigger guys certainly should be better off than a smaller player. That's maybe not fair, but life's not fair, and maybe the goaltending position is not fair anymore either.
David, the players that you were eyeing at the end of the first round, you said were still there in the second round. Is Hellberg the one, or did they?
No, I think these are the guys that we thought we'd get in the second round.